Baby Ward. I stand corrected. Near unanimous support. There we go. Near unanimous support out of the Senate on both sides, actually. Interestingly enough, the preponderance of legislation is tends to be bipartisan. It's obviously usually not the hard topic. So, really proud of the House. Rob Kaufman ran a constitutional concealed carry out of his Judiciary Committee, and Kathy Rapp out of her House Health Committee ran Stephanie Borowitz's version of our heartbeat bill legislation. Glad the House is leading the charge on life. We hear a lot about that on the campaign trail. Good to see you, Jed. This will be quick. Thank you, Lyndon Chambersburg. You hear a life, you hear a heartbeat. Science, reason, and logic. Science declares that at conception, that's a human baby. Facts. It's a darn shame in America that bald eagle babies, in the shells, eggs, have more protections than humans do. Absolutely terrible. Terrible. Heidi in Pittsburgh, good to see you. Okay. The House also ran 2 weeks ago legislation to protect Downs babies. You can't kill the baby because the baby has an extra chromosome. Like, that's the baby's problem or fault. Come on. So thank you, House, for leading the way and setting a great example for us. And they also have fetal remains. You can't just discard the babies as medical waste. They have to be properly handled as you would with any human. So it's funny watching how the other side will spin these things. We are on the right side of history here. Sorry, this highlighter was popped open, so making sure it still worked. I'll keep you posted. Too darn busy today to do any lives from the Capitol. It was absolute crazy. A lot of things were, the wheels are falling off, a lot of things, a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Lots of discussions about the visit to Arizona. Really, I should not be surprised, but I am surprised by the amount of interest in that. Georgia, it will be there tomorrow, and several other states. I don't know if they've announced yet. Several other states will be there as well, and there is no way around it. I don't know how you get around it. There's a lot of unanswered questions still from last year, and they have not been adequately addressed. So I think the best way, as the part of the government with oversight of the conduct and manner of elections, so we do, of course, have oversight responsibility. Should the House move forward, and there's no agreement as of yet, sadly. I'm hopeful we'll move forward, and it does not require permission from anyone in the House or from anyone else in the Wolf administration, for that matter. So we are separate and co-equal branches of the government. Each Senate standing committee has subpoena powers. Just reading some of the notes, see if there's anything I should comment on here. My committee, sadly, really does not have the purview of this particular matter at hand. And so mine is intergovernmental operations, which deals with red tape and bureaucracy. There might be an argument to make. If there was a strong argument, I would have made it. So that's that. I'm trying to hold off a sneeze. Thank you, Jed. Okay, hold on a second. Wow. Excuse me. You can feel it coming. Really not allergies. Don't know what that's about. So anyway, more to follow. You've been very patient. 40+%, I think it's 47% of voters in Pennsylvania have, great misgivings of the conduct of the election, and several bodies in the government in Harrisburg can address it. The governor can, or the attorney general can. I'm told that the inspector general can. The House may be able to, but the Senate really is, I think, in the best position to do that. So, since last November, I've heard from roughly 250,000 people on this topic here. That's a lot of people. And You want answers, as I do. You should be able to walk in confidence when you cast your vote, knowing you have an equal voice across the spectrum of all the citizens that vote in Pennsylvania. And right now, that's a matter for discussion and debate because a lot went wrong, and there's some ambitious folks that have selfish desires to advance themselves, or placing blame where it ought not to go. Mark those which cause divisions and offenses contrary which you've heard, and avoid them. So good, robust debate is fantastic, but just writing nonsense and hit pieces, that's a shame. That's not the way ahead. It doesn't solve anything. Thank you, Jed and Judy. I appreciate it. It's great to see you guys here. I see a top fan, but I need the glasses to read it. Linda, top fan. Gene, top fan, is asking the status of Senate Bill 471. That's my medical freedom bill. It's sitting in the Senate committee. I know of no plans of moving it, sadly. It just needs to move. People are being threatened to lose their jobs. You should be able to choice. Obviously, I can't believe I have to say this. You should have to say of what goes over your face and what goes in your body without any coercion or penalty. Especially, thank you, Linda, especially for a virus with a 99+% recovery rate. You know what I mean? So Nancy, I will address that. This has nothing to do about winning and losing. I don't know what we have to say. Can you put aside your cognitive bias? So that your cognitive bias is when you're so absorbed with your beliefs, whatever they might be, you can't see anything else. And this is not about overturning anything. It's about finding out what happened. It's a forensic audit. No proper forensic audit no forensic audit has been done in Pennsylvania. We should always be about, irregardless of an outcome, we should always be about transparency. And I don't know why folks on a side are just digging their heels in. If you really, Nancy, if you really believe it was a perfect election, as the governor is basically saying, then you know what? If any governor that loves his state and his country would say, you know what, I disagree with you out there, those who disagree and think there was shenanigans, but I got nothing to hide, and as your governor, I'm just speaking rhetorically, open up the books. Pick a county or two. We'll do a full forensic audit, and and either exonerate and prove that the governor was right, or show there, hey, wow, there are issues here. I don't know why, my friend Nancy, why you're okay with better, freer, fairer, more secure elections in faraway Afghanistan than here. It's not hyperbole. So I elaborated on that some with CNN on Saturday, and he knew, he was there. He overlapped with me in 2008, and it was nice to talk to him. He was embedded with some Army units, and so he does have an understanding of the sacrifice that goes in that. So I think when he asked the question, well, explain that. I really do think it was more just like for me to make my case, because he knew in Afghanistan, IDs have been required for years. For more than a decade to vote, you had to present an ID. Not required in Pennsylvania. And the best we could do is if you go in person, a matching signature. And that whole thing about governor was rhetorical. It was just a figurative story. It's sort of a metaphor. And my view is that, you should always look out for the best interests of the citizens, above a political party. My point was, when you have almost half of the electorate in Pennsylvania that has grave misgivings about the election, you need to do something at the state level to put people's concerns at ease. And the only way to do that is just a forensic audit. And I don't think there's any way we can get around that. I just don't see that. Now, look, I am not, the executive of Pennsylvania. I am one of 50 senators. That's a fact. and we need a majority within the Senate or committee to, agree with this line of reasoning. So, my desires, and it's within the caucus, of the 50, 29 caucus with the Republicans. So you need a majority of that. Rachel's like, I need my ID to use my Zoom membership, but not the vote. Yep. Sorry about that. You need the ID to do a lot of things, like getting on an airplane, which I was on one last week. No taxpayer dollars were used. That's a red herring. I knew that would be the whole focus. Instead of, why are you going down there? What do you hope to encounter? And then, what did you see? What's the so what for Pennsylvania? Instead of the red herrings, oh, did he use taxpayer dollars? Nope, not a penny. Not a plug nickel, as some of the folks in my dad's generation said. Heather, your top fan badge is right there. Sean, it was great to see you Saturday. Okay. Thank you, Jill. You're awesome, top fan. I am blessed with beautiful people. Jennifer says they're still not checking signatures or photo ID. Mike, good to see you. Sorry about that. Shelly, what's going on? Dar, it was great to see you. Jesse as well. Marty from Fayetteville. Man, you're within walking distance. Danny's like, I need ID to buy cigarettes. That's hilarious. She's in her 50s because must look 18 since I have to show an ID. That's funny. Jen, great to see you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. So Saturday, we had a great celebration. There was two purposes for that. It was one, of course, was to celebrate the victory. And then a legislative purpose was to lay out legislation that we believe needs to happen to safeguard your freedoms in the future, including election reform and medical freedom. And then, of course, the other legislation that my colleagues, such as Stephanie Borowitz, laid out. Thank you, friends, for tuning in. I'm going to saddle up here. I did tell you it was going to be brief. I will try, if at all possible, if tomorrow is not like today, and try to do a live from the Senate. I do have a speaking engagement tomorrow night, so I will not be going live, and I don't think they allow photography or video at the event, so which is cool. I'm down with that. Sharon, you had some fantastic commemorations for D-Day. June 6, 1944, when American soldiers landed on Utah Beach, codenamed Utah Beach, and Omaha Beach on the coast of Normandy, and British and Canadian forces landed at Gold, Juno, and Sword, code names. In addition to the 6th British Airborne, 82nd U.S. Airborne, and 101st U.S. Airborne. And 77 years ago yesterday, 77 years ago today, it still was not certain that we'd have a foothold on the French coast. It was, as some have called it, Cornelius Ryan, who wrote an excellent book about that many years ago called The Longest Day. I forget who coined that phrase. Maybe it was Eisenhower himself. I did put on my Senate page Eisenhower's speech that was recorded and sent over the airways on June 6, 1944, commending that the men and women participating in the invasion of Normandy. They are beginning on a great crusade, defeat Nazism and all the horrors that came with that. Thank you again, friends, for tuning in. I did a partial live with Jenna Ellis, but in the middle of it, somebody called me and I had to end the live feed. Sadly, it was interrupted, and it was sadly interfering with the great conversation. Once she posts it online, we'll do the links on my page, my pages, and I hope you guys have a great night. So God is good. Think about where we were last year and look where we are now. Clearly, the task isn't done, but we stood together. It's a darn shame on the way that that some people fall away for whatever reason, don't live up to expectations or desires or whatever. Thank you for those who remain faithful and true. As Tolkien said, I have it on my page, faithless is he who parts ways when the path grows dark. And so we happy few, we band of brothers and sisters We've made it through the dark times and together still for better days ahead. It's a great summer out there. And I hope to see some of you in person at some of these many, many events that Rebbe and I will be going to across the state. Those that are in my official capacity will be on the Senate page. Those in not my official Senate capacity will be on the other page. Thank you for tuning in. Stay blessed, stay strong, and stay encouraged. Have a great night. Thanks again.